Welcome to NTD Newsroom. I'm Don Ma. Mexico suspends oil shipments to Cuba. The decision follows U.S. threats to impose tariffs on countries that supply the island nation. On Capitol Hill, Ghislaine Maxwell took the fifth and refused to answer any questions in a video call with lawmakers. Chair James Comer says her attorney demanded clemency from Donald Trump. Today marks the 9th day of the search for Nancy Guthrie, the 84-year-old mother of NBC anchor Savannah Guthrie. Meanwhile, the alleged abductors want $6 million by 5 p.m. today. This week on Capitol Hill, Republicans are set to vote on the SAVE Act, a measure to create voter ID requirements and eliminate non-citizen voting. The House is pressuring the Senate, President Trump weighing in. Global reactions are pouring in after Hong Kong media tycoon Jimmy Lai is sentenced to 20 years in prison.
This is NTD Newsroom, live from our global headquarters in New York City.
Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us today. Lawmakers attempting to question Jeffrey Epstein's former associate Ghislaine Maxwell today amid an investigation into Jeffrey Epstein. House Oversight Chair James Comer saying Maxwell invoked her Fifth Amendment rights during a 20-minute video call.
As expected, Ghislaine Maxwell took the fifth and refused to answer any questions. This is obviously very disappointing. We had many questions to ask about the crimes she and Epstein committed, as well as questions about potential co-conspirators. We sincerely want to get to the truth of the American people and justice for the survivors. That's what this investigation is about. Just to be clear, what her attorney said, Maxwell didn't say, her attorney said that she would answer questions if she were granted clemency by the President Trump.
Maxwell is currently serving a 20-year sentence for sex trafficking. Comer issued several subpoenas following the release of files showing Epstein's connection to a range of influential figures. Former President Bill Clinton, former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, and Epstein's former neighbor and Victoria's Secret CEO Les Wexner are among those ordered to testify. The Clintons are scheduled to be deposed on February 26th and 27th. Epstein's accountant Richard Kahn and Epstein's lawyer Darren Indyke are also scheduled to testify next month. Mexico has suspended crude oil shipments to Cuba following U.S. threats to impose tariffs on countries supplying oil to the island nation. Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum criticized the Trump administration's decision.
This sanction being imposed on countries that sell oil to Cuba is very unjust, very unfair. It's not right because sanctions that affect the people are not right. You can agree or disagree with Cuba's government regime, but the people should never be affected.
Mexico became Cuba's largest oil supplier after the U.S. began seizing Venezuelan tankers in December. U.S. forces captured Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro early last month. Meanwhile, Cuba warned international airlines that jet fuel will no longer be available on the island starting tomorrow. Air Canada said it was suspending flights to the country. Cuba announced last week it would implement an emergency plan to address acute shortages. Cuba has historically relied on Venezuela for oil and gas. The country often faces power outages, blackouts, and long lines at gas stations. Meanwhile, U.S. forces boarded a vessel overnight in the Indian Ocean, demonstrating American maritime power. In a post on X, the War Department confirmed today that the military boarded the vessel without incident. Video shows troops descending from a helicopter to take control of the ship. The department said the vessel had been tracked from the Caribbean to the Indian Ocean after defying President Trump's quarantine on sanctioned ships. The post said when the Department of War says quarantine, they mean it. Officials stressed that illicit actors will not be allowed to evade American power on the seas. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is expected to meet President Trump in Washington on Wednesday. The two are expected to discuss negotiations with Iran following indirect talks between U.S. and Iranian officials on Friday. Netanyahu's office said in a statement that any negotiations must include limitations on ballistic missiles and a halting of the support for the Iranian axis. The meeting on Wednesday will be the seventh between the two leaders since Trump took office. And now to Hong Kong, where Jimmy Lai, an important pro-democracy voice and outspoken critic of the Chinese Communist Party, has been sentenced to 20 years in prison. Hong Kongers and the world are reacting strongly to the sentence. Here's the story.
A court in Hong Kong has sentenced media founder and critic of China's Communist Party Jimmy Lai to 20 years in prison. A panel of judges sentenced Lai under the city's national security law, a law imposed by the Chinese regime in 2020. Lai, who started the pro-democracy newspaper Apple Daily, was convicted in December last year of colluding with foreign forces and publishing so-called seditious material. Before his sentencing Monday, he had already spent years in custody. Supporters had been lining up outside the courthouse for days, hoping to see him in person.
I think the Hong Kong situation now is like today's weather, gray and covered with dark clouds. Apple Daily was the only platform which carried the voice of the Hong Kongers.
Today's sentence brought no relief. The judges spared Lai the maximum penalty of life in prison. But for the 78-year-old, 20 years could still mean he remains in prison for the rest of his life. Lai's family says his health has worsened during years of detention. His son called the punishment devastating for the family and life-threatening for his father. The ruling prompted immediate criticism from press freedom advocates. Jody Ginsburg, CEO of the Committee to Protect Journalists, said in a statement, "The rule of law has been completely shattered in Hong Kong." The Asia director of Human Rights Watch, Elaine Pearson, said Lai's sentence is effectively a death sentence. She added Lai's years of persecution shows the Chinese government's determination to crush independent journalism and silence anyone who dares to criticize the Communist Party. Edward Lee, a former chief breaking news editor for Apple Daily, said Lai's prison sentence was shocking.
The words I've heard the most today are, "There's nothing more to say." Everyone has reached a point where they're completely lost for words. When you see this verdict, you really don't know what else you can say.
Senator Rick Scott said in a statement, Jimmy Lai was unjustly sentenced by Communist China to 20 years in prison for the crime of daring to think differently from the CCP and refusing to use his newspaper to spread CCP propaganda. Taiwan's government condemned the harsh sentence and called for Lai's release. Taiwan's Mainland Affairs Council said Lai's sentence under Hong Kong's national security law not only deprives him of his personal liberty and tramples on freedom of speech and press freedom, but also denies the people's basic right to hold those in power accountable.
The State Department responded to Jimmy Lai's verdict today. It called the Hong Kong court's sentencing an unjust and tragic conclusion to this case, adding that, quote, "It shows the world that Beijing will go to extraordinary lengths to silence those who advocate fundamental freedoms in Hong Kong, casting aside the international commitments Beijing made in the 1984 Sino-British Joint Declaration." The department says the U.S. urges authorities to grant Lai humanitarian parole. Britain announced it's expanding its visa route for Hong Kongers, allowing children of British national status holders to move independently. The British foreign minister called for Lai to be released on humanitarian grounds, citing ongoing deterioration of rights and freedoms in Hong Kong. Japan expressed serious concern over the impact on freedom of speech. Tokyo warned that trust in the one country, two systems framework continues to be undermined. The European Union demanded Lai's immediate release, calling the prosecution politically motivated. Australia criticized the sentence and urged Beijing to stop suppressing free expression and reconsider the national security law. The final deadline from an alleged ransom note in the Nancy Guthrie case ends today at 5 p.m. That's according to a purported ransom note sent to CNN affiliate KGUN. Meanwhile, the search for Guthrie has entered its 9th day. NTD's Arlene Richards has more on what we've learned so far.
A 5 p.m. deadline looms on Monday. The alleged abductor or abductors of Nancy Guthrie say in what appears to be a ransom note sent to CNN affiliate KGUN that they want $6 million in exchange for Guthrie's release. The note reportedly demands payment in Bitcoin. The station said it also contains a threat to Guthrie's life if the deadline isn't met. Guthrie is the 84-year-old mother of NBC Today co-host Savannah Guthrie. Her disappearance enters its 9th day. Meanwhile, as the clock ticks down, the Guthrie family releasing a third video on Saturday.
We beg you now to return our mother to us so that we can celebrate with her. This is the only way we will have peace. This is very valuable to us, and we will pay.
No suspects or persons of interest have been identified.
We still have no valid two-way communication with this possible hostage taker and the author of these ransom notes. It's been all one way. And I think that both sides are probably getting a little desperate as to start that communication before that deadline comes up.
2 purported ransom notes have been sent to media outlets since Guthrie's disappearance, including one to TMZ. TMZ founder Harvey Levin told Fox News about a note his newsroom received.
What I found interesting, because we knew she wore an Apple Watch. There are pictures of her with Savannah with that watch. But they mentioned where the watch was.
Beginning Saturday and continuing today, law enforcement are conducting additional searches of Nancy Guthrie and her daughter Annie Guthrie's houses to ensure nothing was missed. Guthrie has been missing from her home since January 31st. Arlene Richards, NTD News.
And joining us now to discuss the case involving Nancy Guthrie is Jimmy Graham, former CIA protective officer, veteran U.S. Navy SEAL, and founder of and CEO of Able Shepherd. Jimmy, good afternoon. So as you heard in the previous report, the family of Nancy Guthrie released another video pleading for the return of their mother, saying that they're going to pay for her release. I'm just wondering, in your opinion, is the Guthrie family making the right moves here? Anything more they can do?
You know, first of all, our thoughts and prayers go out with for Nancy and then her family. I don't want to speculate at all, so I'll just be talking as me. They've been asked for a ransom. They've offered to pay, and they haven't heard back. So, other than prayer and trying to get more information, I would be relying on professionals right now, because this isn't in our lives. Right now, I don't have a game plan of what if somebody I would love was taken. So I'd be relying on professionals, listening, and then trying to see what I could do for possibly a peaceful outcome.
So, I mean, we don't know if the ransom note is actually legitimate at this point. I mean, can you just give us your gut feelings right now?
You know, again, it's dangerous to speculate, but right now we're in a world where I was meeting with some local sheriffs recently. I was at a meeting and they were talking about people are getting angrier and more violent. So to try to make sense of nonsense just isn't a good plan. There are people that are absolutely going crazy and they want to take. So there's certain things that we just can't figure out. There's so many factors that could be. I just had a conversation with somebody at the grocery store and they're like, looks suspicious, I don't know. And we could spend all of our time speculating. It's just simply not helpful.
Okay, why do you think then there is such a lack of leads? I mean, 9 days into this investigation, there's no persons of interest. There's no footage released. Why is that?
Yeah, again, there's many cases just kind of happen under a camera. They just happen where they're now with all the cameras on whether it be traffic cams or ring doorbells or all of these things. There's pieces of footage, and it sounds like this was premeditated. It sounds somewhat professional, meaning I heard recently about a camera that was found on the roof, about the neighbors seeing something, about the actual camera on the porch deactivated. So this sounds like a professional action. So we can speculate all we want. There's just things that aren't known. So if it does happen, we're not watching the entire globe right now. So if something happens and we don't have actual facts, then everybody just starts chiming in, and those aren't the things that are helpful. I understand that professionals are working on this day and night, and I really pray and hope for a peaceful outcome.
Okay, so Savannah Guthrie said before, the greatest gift my mother gave me was faith and belief in God. It changed my whole life. So it looks like her faith, her belief in prayer has been central in dealing with the situation. Can you just talk to us about the role here that faith plays when a family goes through something like this?
Yeah, absolutely. In a time like this, that's all you have, you know? So it's like I said, know the truth and the truth will set you free. To have any peace or freedom, and I'm talking about me because I want to be sensitive to the Guthrie family. If it was me in that situation, I wouldn't want my family to be terrorized. These are terrorists who are coming into sacred spaces. Her home is it should be a safe place. In Minneapolis, people walking into a church, that's a sacred space. It's actually, federally protected as such, so that we're feeling very vulnerable. So I would want my kids, they do know the truth. They know the truth is, you can kill me physically, but you can't kill me. I know who I am and whose I am, and so does Nancy Guthrie. you can't kill me. You can kill me for now, and then I will be with my kids eternally. And there's strength in that. So I think that kind of takes some of the power away from these terrorists. And a terrorist is someone who uses, unlawful violence or a threat of violence to advance their own twisted ideological objectives. And it's going to get worse. So we need to be stronger spiritually, mentally, relationally, and physically in that order to face what's coming.
So, Jimmy, I've noticed a pattern in cases similar to Guthrie's. Whenever a family is struggling in circumstances such as this, faith always comes up. Why do you think that is?
Again, it's all they have. It's the truth, right? So what do we have to cling to? It's my faith. It's what I absolutely believe is my, who am I? Whose am I? And when my kids know that, we're operating on a different set of rules. So you can try to terrorize us. It's just not going to be as successful because we know the truth. So in the truth, it can set me free. I could have peace in that. And if you don't have that, you've got nothing. Then you will be terrorized and you will be manipulated, and then evil wins. So that just simply can't happen.
Okay, maybe you can contrast that a bit more. You said if you didn't have faith, certain things would happen. What would be the difference between someone who has faith in these types of situations and someone who doesn't?
Again, if you didn't have faith, then and somebody else is pulling my strings, my puppet strings, right? And I'm dancing around and trying to do whatever I can to make you happy. What's rewarded is repeated. What's permitted is promoted. So I'm not going to second guess what the Guthrie family is going to do, because it truly is their own decision. It's their decision what they do here. And they don't need to hear from the peanut gallery right now, right? So they want to try to make the best decisions they can. And if they can go in knowing the truth about their mother, like if this, again, I want to say, if this was me, could my family say, we're going to see Dad again, and Dad wouldn't want us jumping through hoops and being terrorized, right? So potentially they can say, we're going to pray about this. We're not going to be, and I tell my kids, and I'm joking, right? When I tell my kids, when they throw a fit, I don't negotiate with terrorists. I don't, And they're like, dang it, and then they have to do what's right. They don't get to play me, and they know that. So that perhaps that's a lesson for them in the future. Sure hope not.
Okay, Jimmy, maybe just one final question here. What would be your advice to anyone who perhaps may be going through similar situations? What would you tell them? What's the most important thing you want them to know?
I would say, if you don't know where you would go, like if you died for eternity, that's an eternal question. So in preparation, we speculate. We always say it won't happen here. The answer, when the problem is people, the solution is always people, right? So people getting together and taking care of one another. That's our motto, is taking care of one another. That means spiritually, mentally, relationally, and physically. That is a solution. So getting together and getting strong in that. And then when people come and try to attack that, and then they find out it's strong and that you can't be manipulated. And you could kill my body, but you can't kill me eternally, and I'll see you guys again. That's just a much healthier place to approach this from, and it kind of takes the wings out of these terrorists that are trying to get their way. So that is true strength, and true strength can indeed set you free.
And we cannot have the terrorists get their way. Thank you so much, Jimmy, for talking with us.
God bless
you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Coming up, Secretary of Health and Human Services Robert F. Kennedy Jr. celebrates 1 year of the Make America Healthy Again project. Which achievements he's most proud of? More news after this break.
Kids love it. Parents trust it.
Obviously.
Explore GJW Plus Kids Series and Ganjiong Campus courses led by expert educators.
This is spectacular.
Children will learn values like respect, responsibility, and knowledge in language, science, and more.
Wow.
All while having fun.
Perfect.
Subscribe today at GJW Plus Kids, where learning meets fun.
I was a young dad of 3 amazing kids. I was finally following my dreams. Just when you feel like life is starting to come together, you get kind of hit in the face. I was born with a congenital heart defect and had open heart surgery as a kid. I was supposed to go to the heart doctor once a year, and I finally went. He listened to my heart, and I'll never forget, he sat back and he said, yeah, it's time for open heart surgery, or you risk your aorta rupturing, and that's it. I was scared out of my mind. The night before my open heart surgery, I made a goodbye video for my kids. Be strong. Take care of your mom. I love you guys.
Seeing, all the kids hug him goodbye and hoping that they were going to be able to hug him again.
I love you. But I did make it, thanks to the work of the American Heart Association. So that's why I'm asking you to join me. Please call now or go to helpheart.org. For only $19 a month, just 63 cents a day, you can help get the next person trained in CPR, get the next hospital certified in high-quality cardiovascular care, as well as fund the next medical breakthrough like these heart valves that help save my life. When you give $19 a month with your credit card, we'll send you this special t-shirt to show you're a part of our community of monthly donors.
I'm most grateful that I get to have a husband that I get to grow old with and a husband that gets to be there for his children.
I believe without the American Heart Association, I would not be here today. If this can happen to me, it can happen to you, it can happen to anybody. Your donation can literally help save a life. Please call the number on your screen or go to helpheart.org now to become a monthly donor.
With Select Specs £6 specs, you can get 10 pairs of prescription glasses for just £60. That includes frames, prescription lenses, and delivery free to your door. And what makes this really special is each pair can have a different prescription. So it's glasses for everyone. SelectSpecs.com/£6. 10 frames, all with prescription lenses and delivery for just £60. You don't get that on the high street. Right now you can save an extra 5% with offer code CG5OFF.
Lawmakers returned to Washington today with just days to find a funding solution on the Department of Homeland Security, or see the agency shut down. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries says Democrats are standing firm on their demands for reforms to federal immigration enforcement. He says if those demands aren't met, a DHS shutdown would be the fault of Republicans. The Democrats' list of requirements includes requiring immigration enforcement agents to wear body cameras and remove face masks, among other conditions. With the Friday deadline approaching, certain Republican lawmakers have indicated openness to some of those demands. But others' demand are seeing more pushback from Republicans. Missing Friday's deadline would not cause a full government shutdown, as the deadline is for an agreement to provide funding for just the DHS. Republicans on Capitol Hill are pushing to eliminate non-citizen voting. House lawmakers are teeing up a vote this week in a bid to pressure the Senate to act. NTD's Melina Weisskopf reports.
Republicans in Congress doubling down on an effort to require voters to show ID to vote in all elections.
You look around the world, upwards of 90% of democracies require voter ID. The idea that you wouldn't have it would probably seem bizarre to most people.
It's an effort to root out non-citizen voting, which critics argue is an issue that should be left to the states.
Every state should be allowed to decide the best way to proceed to ensure that there's a free and fair election. Here in New York, there are, in fact, voter identification requirements. The question is that the
SAVE Act would set federal standards for voting requirements, which in some cases could help states enforce laws they already have on the books.
When people talk about wanting to respect states and their sovereignty, I say I'm 100% for that. The SAVE Act will stop the federal government from interfering with our ability to require that everybody on the voter rolls be a citizen of the United States.
While voter ID is a popular idea among voters from all parties, Democrats in Congress have repeatedly blocked the measure from advancing. This week, House lawmakers are ramping up the pressure on their Senate colleagues.
The problem is Chuck Schumer and the Democrats have been blocking it. So now we're calling on Leader Thune to change this and to force what we call a talking filibuster so that we can force a vote on the Senate floor.
A talking filibuster would require steep commitments from both sides of the aisle. The goal is to open up an unlimited floor debate until one side gives, allowing for a simple majority vote and sidestepping the need for Democrat support. President Trump on Friday weighing in.
I'd love to use the filibuster. The SAVE Act is very important. Voter ID, I mean, if you look at it, no mail-in voting, and you have to have proof of citizenship. Everybody wants it.
Senate Majority Leader John Thune has not committed to taking the time-consuming approach. Instead, he's aiming to attach the SAVE Act to the must-pass bill to fund the DHS.
We will get a vote on the SAVE Act at some point, and I'm not sure exactly what that context will be. It might be, maybe it's in the context of voting on the DHS bill if something's agreed upon. But there will be...
Lawmakers face an end-of-the-week deadline to fund the DHS and prevent another partial government shutdown. Reporting from Washington, D.C., Melina Weiskup, NTD News.
The Trump administration is warning of big potential social services fraud in Maine. The administration's top health official suggests it could be as big as Minnesota's recent welfare scandal. Medicare and Medicaid Administrator Dr. Oz said yesterday on businessman John Katsimatidis' radio show this is another big crisis that looks a lot like Minnesota. It comes after Maine Republicans sounded the alarm. Late last year, a whistleblower alleged millions of dollars had gone missing from the state's Medicaid program. Just like in Minnesota, Dr. Oz alleges this fraud is also connected to the state's Somali population. Investigators estimate over $1 billion had been redirected from social services programs in Minnesota. According to Oz, Minnesota and Maine are just two among many cases of Medicare and Medicaid fraud. He has repeatedly named California as one of the worst offenders, prompting pushback from Governor Gavin Newsom. The Trump administration's top Medicare official is urging Americans to get vaccinated as measles cases rise across the country, especially in South Carolina. CMS Administrator Dr. Oz said yesterday measles is a disease where vaccination is particularly important. Federal data shows hundreds of cases already reported this year, most involving people who did not receive a measles vaccine. CDC figures show South Carolina accounts for the majority of those infections. Oz also stressed that access to the MMRA vaccine is widely covered under federal health programs. At the same time, the Department of Health and Human Services told the Epoch Times that vaccination decisions should still be discussed between families and their doctors. Nurses in New York City have reached a tentative agreement with two major hospital systems to end a nearly month-long strike. The healthcare workers have been demanding more staffing, protections against workplace violence, and a pay increase. The tentative deal involves the Montefiore and Mount Sinai hospital systems. New York Presbyterian said it agreed over the weekend to a proposal presented by mediators. Around 4,000 nurses remain on strike at New York Presbyterian. The walkouts began January 12th, leaving the hospital scrambling to hire temporary nurses to fill in. The new union said members at Montefiore and Mount Sinai will vote on contracts this week. The 3-year deal affects roughly 10,000 of the 15,000 nurses on strike. The current strike represents the largest and longest nurses' strike in city history. And just a quick look now at the weather. Conditions over much of the east are still freezing, but relief is on the way at least. Forecasters say winds will slowly subside during the week and temperatures will gradually start to rise. In New York, the temperature went down to 3 degrees yesterday, with wind chills making it feeling closer to -14. In other parts of the Northeast, the feels-like temps went down to -40. Fortunately, forecasters say the temperature will increase every day this week and move into the 40s by Wednesday. A 30-second advertisement promoting Trump accounts aired during the Super Bowl. The purpose of the ad was to raise public awareness about the program and encourage families to sign up. We have analysis and more coming up.
They tried to silence us. But 5,000 years cannot be erased.
A lost world reborn. Timeless. Divine. Witness the revival. Experience the extraordinary. Live on stage. Returns to David Koch Theater, March 25th through April 12th. Get your tickets now at shenyun.com.
This is Pho-licious. Now, what is pho? It's an authentic Vietnamese noodle dish. Pho-licious chicken pho brings the comforting, aromatic flavors of Vietnam to your bowl. And Mama Thu's signature spice blend. Well, this chicken pho is as close to homemade as it gets without the wait. Some cubed chicken, a little lime, and then the magic moment. See you soon, my friends.
Pho-licious is now available at your local Walmart or walmart.com.
What if you could whiten your teeth by simply brushing your teeth? Now you can with Smile Actives, the teeth whitening breakthrough that safely gets your teeth white and keeps them white every day, just by brushing your teeth.
I never thought that whitening my teeth could be so easy. I just put the gel on the brush, the toothpaste on it, brush, and I can see my white teeth.
Simply add Smile Actives to any toothpaste and our patented PolyClean technology activates into a powerful microfoam that penetrates into the enamel surface to safely lift and remove stains.
You need a simple way to whiten your teeth. Without strips, without trays, without going to the dentist. And it was about time that a product was developed that you would be able to do that with just brushing.
And now Smile Actives is even better with new Pro Whitening Gel with 33% greater whitening power, clinically shown to whiten teeth faster, up to 8 shades. 100% of users saw whiter teeth. On food stains, coffee and wine stains, even on veneers, crowns, and dentures.
I eat the blueberries, I drink the coffee, and I know that Smile Actives will keep my teeth white every day.
If you could use something so easy like Smile Actives to take yellow teeth to white teeth, why wouldn't you?
Why spend hundreds of dollars for whitening treatments at the dentist when now you can whiten your teeth with new Smile Actives Pro Whitening Gel every time you brush your teeth? Call or go to smileactives.com and for a limited time get new Pro Whitening Gel for just $24.95. Order in the next 5 minutes and buy one get one absolutely free for just $24.95. That's 2 for 1 and save 58%. We'll even include free shipping. Get your teeth whiter guaranteed or return it within 60 days for your money back.
I smile every day now.
The difference is literally night and day.
So now I'm always smiling, always choosing, because now my teeth are much whiter.
This offer is not available in stores, so call or click now before the special buy one get one free offer goes away.
A 30-second advertisement promoting Trump accounts aired during the Super Bowl pregame broadcast. To talk about the Trump accounts, we're joined by Daniel Lacalle, Chief Economist at Tressis Hedge Fund, international financial analyst, and author of the book Freedom or Equality. Daniel, good afternoon. So about these Trump accounts, children born between 2025 and 2028 are eligible to receive a $1,000 seed contribution from the Treasury. And these accounts are intended to help families save for long-term financial goals, right? But the actual value realized depends on contributions and performance of the investment. So talk to us about what do you think are the benefits here of these Trump accounts?
I think it's a great idea. Thank you, Don, because one of the biggest challenges right now in the public discourse and in the political debate is this widespread perception that people are getting rich in the stock market and the Main Street is not seeing anything of it. And I think that it is a great way of encouraging citizens to save, to invest, to check their portfolios, to see that they're doing better. And I think it's also something that has worked wonderfully in countries, for example, like Chile, in which the day-to-day realization that with some investment and some saving, you can get much better results than hoping that the government or the state provides some sort of support is very, very powerful in terms of the perception about how wealth is generated, how wealth is created. Instead of all this propaganda that we read every day in social media saying that the problem of the United States is billionaires, what you can see is actually that you can benefit significantly from the stock price performance of those companies that are generating at the same time wealth and jobs. So I think it's a great idea, and it worked beautifully in many countries, particularly in Chile, that I remember.
So I do wanted to talk to you about the returns here, but I brought a clip here with me of part of the ad that was played during the Super Bowl, and if you wouldn't mind, just take a look at it.
This year, every American child gets an investment account, and millions will be pre-funded. That's free money. We can all expand the American dream. Sign me up.
So this $1,000, how much could it grow by the time a child, let's say, is around college age, considering historical stock market returns?
Oh gosh, think about it. How many times have you read that if you had invested $1,000 in the IPO of Nvidia or the IPO of Amazon, you would be a millionaire today? Well, obviously, if you look at the compounded returns of the S&P 500, you can check that the returns of those $1,000 would pay for college. To many of these children. I mean, we need to think about the exceptional thing that is compounded interest and how reinvestment of dividends, how the stock price performance ends up generating a lot more wealth than what citizens would achieve by simply waiting to see if the government gives them something, if the government does. No, I think it's a clear indication that citizens can reach for a better environment in which they can pay for college, in which they can pay for their projects, for start making their own business, whatever that is required. But also very important is that it creates independent citizens that are able to think for themselves instead of being awashed by propaganda that says that corporations are evil and things like that.
So, Daniel, I want to address a point I think you might have alluded to in your first response in this conversation. So today I saw an interesting article about the Trump accounts where the author argues that this program can help counter rising support for socialism because it can teach young people the benefits of capitalism through ownership, building personal wealth, and investment. What do you think about that?
I think it's actually quite right. A lot of the socialist propaganda that is spread in colleges and schools and in the media these days tends to focus on two things: envy and hatred. No, which is basically the same thing. Envy of those that have done well, envy, and also the belief that the reason why people may be suffering or may be having a tougher environment in terms of their day-to-day cost of living is because of people that have done well, this sort of zero-sum game of the economy. What investing and being financially independent gives to citizens is the tools to understand that capitalism is the way to reduce poverty and to improve wealth, and that what is certainly the road to serfdom is to believe that it's going to be the state that provides. Obviously, we all believe in a state that gives a certain number of public services for the people that are more disadvantaged, but I think that what is absolutely essential right now is that people stop believing in this fallacy of a zero-sum game economy. And they start to understand that what is driving wealth and what is driving improvement in the economy are precisely those companies that are thriving in the stock market and doing a very good job for all of those that have invested in them.
So a couple more things here, Daniel. Would you characterize this program as pro-family? And how does this compare to previous administrations where the government just gives you money to spend, cash?
Yeah, it's much better. It's much better to give money to people so that they invest and they see the fruits of that investment. They get excited. They understand that they're getting richer and that they're getting better and that they can achieve to purchase the things that they require in the future, that they can, that by investing properly and wisely, they can buy themselves a home, they can fund tuition, college tuition, all these things. I think that this is much better than giving people a check to spend, and it's much better for the economy long term. Furthermore, this is not just pro-family, it is pro-independent citizens that have the ability to manage their own life, and they have the ability to understand how to become more successful by investing instead of demonizing the stock market.
And just finally, Daniel, could you address criticisms here that Trump accounts could widen wealth gaps?
I mean, that makes absolutely no sense. It's the opposite, no? It's the opposite. Everybody that is talking about this massive wealth gap is using a very stupid fallacy, to be fairly honest, which is the fallacy of paper wealth, which is to account for the wealth of the billionaires of America as if it was fully fungible and in cash when it is invested in the stock market. So if those people say that that these millionaires and billionaires have made their fortune by seeing their stocks soar, what this does is to actually reduce the gap, which is to allow citizens to become investors instead of just wage earners and deposit savers.
Okay, Daniel, great comments as always. Thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
More on the Super Bowl. The competition wasn't limited to the field. Two competing halftime events went head-to-head. The NFL's traditional show and a conservative-backed alternative. NTD's Daniel Monahan has the highlights.
And this one's for you, Charlie.
With those words, conservative commentator Jack Posobiec paid tribute to the late Turning Point USA co-founder while debuting the organization's All-American halftime show. That was just moments before Bad Bunny took the stage at Levi's Stadium at the Super Bowl in Santa Clara, California. The dueling halftime performances date back to last year, when the NFL named Bad Bunny to headline the halftime show in September. The rock band Green Day was added to lead the opening ceremony. Both acts have openly criticized President Trump. The NFL's decision motivated Turning Point USA to create the All-American halftime show as an alternative. It described its show as providing entertainment for viewers that celebrate American culture, freedom, and faith. Kid Rock was the most notable name in Turning Point USA's event. Here he is on Fox News discussing the show.
They realize there's a big portion of this country, like it or not, that's underserved entertainment-wise. And, you know, we're just going to go play for our base, you know, people who love America, love football, love Jesus.
Rock added a verse to Cody Johnson's Till You Can't in an emotional tribute to Charlie Kirk. The Turning Point show also showcased performances by country singers Lee Brice, Brantley Gilbert, and Gabby Barrett. The NFL has stood by having Bad Bunny host the halftime show amid pushback from conservatives. NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell called him one of the great artists in the world before the Super Bowl. Before the dueling shows, social media lit up with chatter from supporters of both artists. Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. said he was excited to watch Kid Rock in the All-American Super Bowl halftime show. Former President Barack Obama's Obama Foundation posted, "From one natural-born U.S. citizen to another, have a great Benito Bowl." War Secretary Pete Hegseth greeted the audience with a video clip.
From the War Department, we salute Turning Point USA and every American who still believes freedom is worth defending. Thank you for your courage as an organization, your clarity, and your leadership. And for this halftime show that the War Department is proud to support.
Turning Point USA on Saturday posted on X a video featuring Kirk discussing the Super Bowl.
When you have the most televised event, this is true, most televised event for the entire year, one of the most televised events on the planet, by the way, that should be a reflection of the virtue that hopefully you want society to embody.
Bad Bunny is Benito Antonio Martinez Ocasio. He has been an outspoken critic of federal immigration law enforcement efforts by the Trump administration. He was born and raised in Puerto Rico. He often wears a dress when performing and primarily sings in Spanish. He was Spotify's most streamed artist globally in 2025. In September 2025, he said that he would not perform in the United States because of ICE operations. Bad Bunny's halftime show included performances from special guests Alex Earl and Cardi B, and Ricky Martin, among other stars who appeared on stage. Lady Gaga made a cameo and danced with the headline artist before her performance of Die With a Smile. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt last week chimed in on which show, Bad Bunny or Kid Rock, President Trump would prefer.
I think the president would much prefer a Kid Rock performance over Bad Bunny, I must say that.
Trump called Bad Bunny's halftime show absolutely terrible. The president said the dancing was disgusting, especially for young children. Nearly 6 million people watched the Turning Point All-American halftime show. The Super Bowl usually has over 100 million viewers. Daniel Monahan, NTD News.
Vice President J.D. Vance is visiting Armenia and Azerbaijan this week. He will push a Washington-brokered peace deal that could reshape energy and trade in the South Caucasus. He began a two-day visit to Armenia today. The trip comes 6 months after a White House agreement aimed at ending nearly 40 years of conflict. Vance is promoting the Trump route for international peace and prosperity. That's a 25-mile corridor linking Azerbaijan to its separate Western territory and Turkey. The corridor could connect Asia to Europe, bypass Russia and Iran, and give the West access to critical minerals. Analysts say even small U.S. attention can make a big difference in the region. Vance met with the Armenian Prime Minister earlier today. They signed a joint statement on peaceful nuclear declaration between their two nations. Here's what he said about the benefits of the project for the local people.
The TRIP fund, what it will do is means that a lot of private capital is going to flow into building railroads, into building pipelines, and again, to building the interconnectedness that will create real prosperity for the region, but also allow the peace agreement to stick.
Secretary of State Marco Rubio will lead a delegation of U.S. officials to the Munich Security Conference this coming weekend. The head of the annual gathering of security experts and policymakers shared the news today.
In my view, transatlantic relations are currently experiencing a significant crisis of confidence and credibility. That is why it is particularly gratifying that the American side is taking such a keen interest in Munich.
The conference chair also said he expects more than 50 U.S. members of Congress to attend, as well as the governors of Michigan and California. He also addressed last year's accusations from Vice President J.D. Vance, who accused European leaders of censoring free speech. The chair said he expects Secretary Rubio to focus on U.S. foreign policy. President Zelensky is expected to lead the Ukrainian delegation. The Ukrainian people will be given a special award that is normally given to an individual. Japanese Prime Minister Sanae Takaichi vowed to deliver on her campaign pledges today after an election win over the weekend. She spoke in Tokyo after a party won a record majority of hers.
We have no time to bask in the afterglow of victory. With the cooperation from the opposition parties, I will call for a special parliamentary session to pass the budget-related bills, including the next year's budget sooner rather than later.
Takaichi has pledged to revise Japan's defense policies in favor of offensive military capabilities, vowing to lift a ban on weapons exports. The Japanese Prime Minister has said she aims to address the high cost of living by suspending a sales tax on food. Takaichi has also been pushing for tougher immigration policies as part of her reform. President Trump is congratulating Japan's Prime Minister after her coalition secured a decisive election victory. In a post on Truth Social yesterday, Trump weighed in and wished Sanae Takaichi great success, praising what he called her conservative peace through strength policy agenda. Trump said that Takaichi's party holds a historic two-thirds supermajority in the Japanese parliament for the first time in decades. He also wrote that it was his honor to endorse her. Takaichi responded on X thanking Trump for his message and signaling plans to visit Washington. She described the potential of the Japan-U.S. alliance as limitless. The big win is paving the way for Takaichi's agenda, which aims to boost Japan's economy and military capabilities to counter China. The top commander of NATO in Europe says the alliance is planning for a possible Arctic mission. NATO is planning to strengthen security in the north and amid increasing Chinese-Russian activity.
Continued Russian presence and increasing Chinese presence that's there. I think it's been reported widely that we're doing some planning now on a new Arctic mission called Arctic Sentry that has not kicked off yet, but we're in the final stages of planning for that enhanced vigilance activity.
The move comes as President Trump keeps highlighting the need to secure the Arctic, especially Greenland. Trump says a strong U.S. presence in Greenland is crucial to defending against threats from China and other adversaries. Trump previously pointed to the fact that Washington protected Greenland during World War II, saying the U.S. should have kept its presence there rather than handing control over back to Denmark. German biathletes celebrate their team's third-place win at the Winter Olympics. An enthusiastic team member experiences a mishap with his bronze medal. Stay tuned for that after this break.
In times of uncertainty,
Technology for humanity matters more than ever. Ganjing World utilizes technologies to promote kindness, respect, and trust among people. Subscribe to GJW Plus. Enjoy over 10,000 movies and shows. Ganjing Kids, the #1 safe platform, value-based learning and fun for kids. Be part of technology for humanity. Subscribe now.
According to ancient Chinese medicine, purslane is considered a medicinal herb and is used to help lower cholesterol, improve vascular functions, and prevent diabetes. Perilla seeds can nourish the lungs and spleen. It is used to treat asthma and improve pulmonary functions. Puritang green vegetable omega-3 is made from purslane and perilla seeds from Hwangmae Mountain in South Korea. It contains over 90% of omega-3, 6, 7, and 9, the highest concentration possible without chemical additives. The soft gel is made of natural seaweed. It is 100% organic and vegan. Both adults and children can take it with peace of mind. Ancient recipes were passed down from heaven to bring prosperity and longevity. Puritang green vegetable omega-3.
For the first time ever, we're bringing you MyPillow mattresses and mattress toppers for as low as $99.98. Remember, sleep's all about temperature and pressure points. Whatever sleep needs you have, we have the right technology for you. Like our MyPillow mattress topper, our queen size has over 10,000 individual comfort supports to help relieve your pressure points. And how about our 3-inch Hybrid Plus mattress topper? It's infused with copper and silver to help your body get the restorative sleep it needs. And our MyPillow and Case Coil mattresses, I personally helped develop these mattresses to make sure they have everything needed to give us great sleep. Plus, they're made right here in the USA, and they ship right to your front door, absolutely free. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use this promo code to get MyPillow mattresses and toppers for as low as $99.98 and free shipping.
Mathis Home is the place to find the best values and the most options for your next home furnishings project. Take a look at this modular sectional from Ashley. We stock it in a variety of cover options. And it has built-in Bluetooth speakers and storage. The best part, it's configurable to fit your space. Looks like this costs double from other retailers, but at Mathis Home, you get all this for just $19.99. Come see all the ways we can save you money at your furniture superstore, Mathis Home.
Skier Lindsey Vonn's Olympic crash, which came while she was still recovering from an earlier accident, has ignited a debate over who decides when an injured competitor is fit to compete. Here's the story.
Skier Lindsey Vonn's crash on Sunday's Olympic downhill is raising bigger questions about who decides when an injured competitor is fit to race. The 41-year-old American took the start line just a week after rupturing knee ligaments in a World Cup accident in the Swiss resort of Crans, Montana. She trained with a knee brace and posted the third fastest run on Saturday. But on race day, she suffered a devastating fall and was airlifted to a hospital with a broken leg. Vonn had said she felt strong enough to compete after days of therapy and medical consultations. But some experts say skiing needs clearer protocols governing when a competitor can return to racing, perhaps modeled on rugby's rules for players with concussion. International Ski and Snowboard Federation representative Peter Girdal says injuries are part of the sport.
Well, I think it was a mistake of the racer, as most of the times happen. The course was maybe bumpy, or it was it's an Olympic medal race, so it has to be a challenging downhill, and most of the athletes managed really well. So if there are some mistakes from time to time, this happen in our sport, and unfortunately happened to Lindsey Vonn and to Cande Moreno. We have two athletes that unfortunately injured.
Girdal says return to play decisions currently fall on national federations, not the international ski body. Norway, for instance, barred its own injured skier Marte Monsen from starting on Sunday. Athletes themselves are split. Some defend personal choice, while others worry about the example it sets for younger competitors. Italian skiing legend Alberto Tomba says Vaughn's drive to compete was understandable, but misguided.
She shouldn't have raced in Crans-Montana, as I said. After Tarvisio, the last podium, her last victory, she should have come here at the end of January and trained. But for an athlete, it's not easy to decide something like that. When you feel in good shape, you want to keep winning. One race leads to another.
An enthusiastic German biathlete celebrating his team's third-place finish had his bronze medal break over the weekend. One of his teammates recounted the incident as they celebrated their achievement.
Yes, we did get together again as a whole team in the evening for a small celebration. We were also allowed to do an entrance into the hotel again. Justus Strelo immediately took advantage of this to jump and dance again. Unfortunately, the medal broke at that moment. But I hope and I believe that not much was missing and that it can be put back together relatively quickly. So, yes, there was a little damage, but I think it will all be fixable.
Germany took third place in the mixed relay biathlon at the 2026 Winter Olympics in Italy on Sunday. France won the event, with Italy coming in second. During celebrations following the event, the medal of one of their German biathletes broke. Several other athletes reported that their medals had come off their bands. So far, Germany has won 3 medals at the Winter Olympics: a gold medal in luge, a silver medal in alpine skiing, and 1 bronze medal in biathlon. The Super Bowl wasn't the only big game yesterday. A few hours before, more than 150 puppies gathered to take part in the Puppy Bowl.
Puppy Bowl 22 is back underway. Fluff's Apple and Ruff's Clementine battle for possession of the toy.
Apple and Clementine. Maybe we should call this the Fruit Bowl?
Just wait until Fluff's Strawberry is on the field. And it's Apple who gains possession of the toy.
Team Ruff and Team Fluff went back and forth in the match, but in the end, Team Fluff won their second consecutive championship, taking home the Lombardi Trophy. The final score was Team Fluff 73 and Team Ruff 69. Boba from Team Fluff earned the MVP award, Most Valuable Puppy. And the Puppy Bowl helps raise awareness for animal shelters and rescue groups across the country. Secretary of Health Human Services Robert F. Kennedy Jr. celebrates 1 year of the Make America Healthy Again project. Which achievements he's most proud of? More news after this break.
What if kids in America didn't have to go to bed hungry tonight? What if our moms, dads, and grandparents could put healthy food on the table every day to help us grow strong? What if all of our friends and neighbors had fresh food too, and there was no hunger at all in America? And what if there was a way today for you to help? Call now or go online to helpfeedingamerica.org and give $19 a month, just 63 cents a day. So many of us don't have enough food to eat, but your monthly gift means families across the country and in your community can fill plates with food. Kids can get healthy meals year-round, even when school is out, and our neighbors can have fresh food. Food that moms, dads, entire families need to thrive. But right now, more people are facing hunger. Feeding America works from coast to coast with partner food banks, food pantries, and meal programs. It takes all of us to make that happen. Will you help too? Please call the number on your screen or go online to helpfeedingamerica.org and give just $19 a month, and we'll send you this free canvas grocery bag. It's our way of saying thank you for helping to end hunger for our neighbors. Because no kid, no mom or dad, nobody should go hungry in America. Nobody. So what if today was the day you could help nourish futures for our friends, our families, for all of us? Ending hunger is possible. What if we end it together? Call or give online today at helpfeedingamerica.org, and your gift can be doubled. Thank you.
We said we'd never give in to a meltdown.